Hello fellow kids, welcome back to the channel. Today building a very large family home in Willow Creek that comes in at 155,496 simoleons. It's 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, and if you can go ahead and hit that like button below, it just helps my content get out to other people who enjoy The Sims. And now that we have that out of the way, let me tell you a little bit about this build. So I was having a little bit of builder's block, and then I was inspired by an image I saw of a house in The Sims, but it was built in like 2017. I just happened to come across it. I don't remember who built it, but I really liked the L shape with the driveway going through the corner, so I was like, I'm gonna build a house like that. And I used to stay away from this type of house because I didn't like the way the roofing looked in the back, but that's one of those things that I've kind of gotten over the years. I used to follow these like arbitrary rules that I kind of felt were important, but now I just do whatever when I build, and I've been making a lot better homes that way, and you don't get the builder's block as much when you just kind of like do your own thing. And I realized that people like the builds anyway. Like, even when you're doing these things that are supposedly like you're not supposed to do, like they just turn out and people like it. So I stopped kind of living by those rules, and one of them was this type of house. And I'm so glad that I stopped, because I love this house. I love it so much. I would love to play in this house. My only problem with it was that it was like way too big, and when I went in there to like do the floor plan, the kitchen and the living room were so gigantic that I had to do something about it. So I ended up like building a toddler room downstairs and an office near the kitchen, just to like make those rooms a little bit smaller because they just looked ridiculously big. And the kitchen is behind that garage door. I used to not put stuff behind the garage door. Like, I would just build a wall to like cut it off, but now I'm just like, eh. So now that's just part of the kitchen, which you'll see in the screenshots, all those little windows there, but I thought it looked okay. And I originally did have the floor plan in here in this video, but my video ended up being like 20 minutes long, so I ended up cutting a lot of stuff out. I try to keep my videos around 10 minutes, so I had to cut a lot of stuff out, and I feel like people probably don't really care about seeing the floor plan. I knew a while ago I had some requests about it because I think that some people use these videos as like a way to kind of learn to build, and so they wanted to like see that stuff, but I haven't gotten any comments like that lately, so I might start cutting that stuff out again. I guess let me know if that's something that you want to see, and I'll put it back in, especially on shorter builds that are around 10 minutes. I have no problem. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about that has nothing to do with The Sims, you guys, who out there are Animal Crossing players? Like, I am so sad right now because Animal Crossing is just like being forgotten by Nintendo, and I'm like literally sad about it because Animal Crossing New Horizons specifically, but all the Animal Crossings, but they kind of just like are a special game to me. Last year, when everything was so bad with the pandemic, and I work in healthcare and things were not great at work, I was very stressed out, and this game came out at the perfect time, and I just have like fond memories, almost like just nostalgia, even though it was like a year ago. Because we always had good updates, there was always something new in the game, and I loved that the internet was like sharing the gaming community was like all playing the game at the same time, and that's all we would be talking about on Twitter and Instagram, and people posting their photos, and Reddit, and like the forums on Reddit where we would all be like trying to buy like turnips and sell turnips and things like that. Like, it was just so much fun, and it brings back a lot of good memories. And I'm like acting like this was a long time ago. It was literally a year ago, but it was just awesome. And so I had such high hopes for 2021. I really thought that in my brain, I was like, even if Nintendo doesn't update Animal Crossing, you know, there's probably going to be like new items, like every new event that comes up, or, you know, that's the same as last year, we'll have like new items, because like they wouldn't just give us the same items again, you know. So maybe they're not necessarily updating gameplay, but they're updating things like that. Like, you know, I thought like the bug off and the fishing tourney, like 2020 would have those items, and then 2021 we'd have new items to get. And I thought like things like all these different little holidays like Father's Day, Mother's Day, like all these ones that you've never heard of, I thought like we'd get like new events or like new items for 2021, and they're all the same. And I felt so bad about E3. Like, all of these hype videos, and I don't even know why I watch them at this point. Like, these just spammy, like, 2.0 update, and then I am always a sucker and I always click on them, and they're just clickbait, like people just speculating, and like everybody thought that we were gonna get like this big summer update, and then that didn't happen. And then we moved the goalpost to E3, and nothing was brought up at E3. I was watching E3 at work live, and I was just like waiting for Animal Crossing, like that treehouse thing that Nintendo did, and nothing came of it, and I was really sad. And then I was like in denial. I'm like, oh, well, they're probably gonna still talk about it. Yeah, no, they didn't. E3 was over. It was over. And I'm like, well, there's probably gonna be like a Nintendo Direct because it's not a new game, so maybe they were gonna have like a Nintendo Direct afterward. Like, I'm literally, this is my denial, just pushing it back. I thought, well, maybe the end of June we're gonna get something new. End of June has come and went. Nothing new on the horizon. And you guys, I'm a little bit sad about it. Like, I've never been affected this much by a game. I just like want that feeling again from last year, because it was just a wholesome, fun time in my life, and everybody else's who was on the internet, like sharing all of our excitement together with Animal Crossing. I've just never experienced something like that. I mean, like, yeah, like there's the Sims community and other gaming communities, but there was something about that game and just us discovering it all on our own, and like watching all of those videos on YouTube about, like, you know, secrets you don't know about and things like that, and like learning new things. I actually bought a second Switch at one point because I like felt like if I started an island over again that I would get that feeling again. If you're debating restarting your island, don't do it. I still have my original island, thank God, and I almost restarted that island, but instead I went for getting a second Switch. It was not the same. It was actually very annoying, like having to go through the beginning tutorial to like unlock terraforming, and I'm like, thank God I didn't delete my island, because I would have been really sad. So that's not going to get your nostalgia fix, starting a new island. I know a lot of people debate it all the time, and I'm sorry that I just ranted about Animal Crossing for like 5 minutes of this video, but yesterday was when it hit me, Nintendo Talk. Switch Force was just talking about it yesterday, about how like we've kind of given up now. Like, there's just, the goalpost has not moved. And actually Nintendo Talk did do a video about it, that he's given up on there being an update. Like, the phone, the mobile one, the Pocket Camp is like getting all the updates now, and it makes sense because they're the ones who have microtransactions and people are spending money on it all the time. And I know that Doug Bowser came out and said there's going to be more updates, but I'm still skeptical. I honestly think that this is the game. Like, the game is done. We might get some new items in the future, but I honestly just don't think we're going to get anything, and it kind of makes me sad. Yeah. So there's my rant about Animal Crossing. If anybody out there plays it and feels this way, you can vent your frustrations in the comments, and yeah. So back to the build. I'm probably going to wrap up this voiceover regarding the build, but I called it Fancy Family Home, and I had a lot of room, so I put a piano in this build, which I don't think I've ever done before. So piano in the build, fancy. This is the toddler room I made to make the living room a little bit smaller. I don't remember if I've already done the office because I was kind of zoning out watching this, but the office was to make the kitchen a little bit smaller. I'm glad I did it all because it looks much better on the first floor now instead of having these wide open spaces. Oh, here's the office. That was just to make the kitchen smaller. So it's a little crafting room, office room, probably a little too small to be a bedroom. You could probably make it a bedroom though if you wanted to. So I have really not much else to say about this build except for I did use, which I said I was never going to do again, but I put a platform in the master bedroom, which you are seeing right now. I said in another video I'm never using platforms again because I hate them. However, I did it in this build, and actually, I do still hate them. I don't know what happened, but after I used the platform, my game started glitching really bad, and it changed, like, the entire back of my house to the paint that's in this room once I put the platform in. So, they're such a pain in the ass, but I did it, I made it, I put a platform in there, so you're welcome. because I know people love the platforms and they do look nice. They are just such a pain in the butt. Like, I don't understand why they have, well, maybe they've actually fixed some of it, because I did notice the walls didn't disappear. So I think maybe they fixed it, but they're still so glitchy. They shouldn't count as their own room. I think that's part of the problem. But anyway, I think I'm gonna end this now, even though I'm coming up to the end of the video in screenshots. And I'm sorry I ranted this whole video about stuff and some things that have nothing to do with The Sims. And here we are to screenshots. I haven't talked through the whole thing in a very long time. Well, I will see you guys in the next one.